Welcome to Comics League Live. I'm Jared, and today we are going to talk about a very important topic, one that's very close to my geekdom heart. What might that be, you would ask? Well, it's really what makes Superman such an amazing character. Now, for those of you that don't know, I am a massive Superman fan. Like, huge Superman fan, particularly Zack Snyder's Superman, as can be observed here. And want to do this because a lot of the times I hear a lot of commenters saying, well, Superman's boring because he's super strong and vulnerable and all that. He really he can solve everything just by punching it. Now, my answer to that is incorrect because for many different reasons. Chief among them, I'm going to start with this. With Superman, you have the idea that he is this god character, this character that can burn, to quote BVS, who can burn the whole place down if he wanted to, but he doesn't. Instead, he chooses to use his powers to benefit mankind. He has all the power in the world, but instead he chooses to serve humanity, those that are by all effective means his what's the word? His underlings? No, it's really his that are inferior to him. But he essentially says, okay, you know what? Yes, they're smaller, but with a little guidance, they could be so much greater than they are. And that's really the point of like the movie like Man of Steel, where it's the idea that Jor-El's father, Jor-El, Superman's father, essentially says, hey, you can be the bridge between between two peoples, and you could essentially like lead people and be like the example. You could essentially, what's the word? You could be the example and inspire hope in people, because that's what the S stands for. It's the Kryptonian symbol for hope. And that's why, and you can ask Max MVP Priestley about this, when Blackest Night happened, I, for one, was like, okay, it's cool that you're giving all these other characters lantern rings. Why doesn't Superman get a blue lantern ring? The core that's literally supposed to symbolize hope. Anyway, going off to another reason why I think Superman is the best is because, and by the best, I mean the best superhero, goes into the idea that, okay, so, and Batman really addresses this too. It's because of his upbringing in that, in Charles Soule's Superman Wonder Woman comic that came out during the New 52, Batman basically tells Clark, he's like, listen, dude, there's a reason why I always like working with you. It's because no matter what, no matter how what's the word? No matter what happens, you always see mankind as your home team because you grew up on Earth. You may have landed here from another planet, but you'll still see mankind as your own home team. Therefore, what it comes down to is Superman ultimately, even though he's not human, he feels human. In other words, that's kind of the idea there. Next up, what I want to say is another reason why I think Superman is the best hero is because ultimately also the other superheroes take their cues from him. In other words, they established multiple times in the comics and even in the Snyderverse that Superman is the inspiration behind like Justice League, behind all these different heroes coming up and feeling comfortable being superheroes. At that point, so it shows that Clark has that inspirational category, the inspirational quality that leads people. Hey, what's up, Jared? You and me seem to be the only two Team Snyder fans. Also, it's not Zach's fault that these actors have gone out of control after he left, but people thirst. Yeah, exactly. That's the one thing. I'll say this, Daryl Taylor. That's one of the things that really upsets me about this whole Ezra thing. besides the whole Ezra thing, is that people are like, it's all Zach's fault because he hired Ezra. People can change. I'm like, wait a second here. It's like, look at Grant Morrison when we're talking about Ezra. The dude literally said, when I worked with him, he was totally nice and sweet. He wasn't this way. So I'm like, wait a second here. That's my other issue with this, is that people are just using this as an excuse to bash Snyder for no reason, because I guarantee you, if Ezra had been doing this before Justice League, or before he was even cast, they would not have been cast as the Flash. Never. Not at all. Not at all. Going on. But it's like, that's my other issue, is that people seem to be using this to needlessly attack Zach. And I'm like, okay. And that's where I take the not real DC fans label very seriously, because it's like, wait a second, if you're going to like say that's Zach's fault about what happens with Ezra, even though this all happened even though this happened after all this Snyder stuff happened, you're a little bit disingenuous. Anyway, going back to the topic of this podcast, I see we have new people. We are talking about what makes Superman the best superhero, and you guys can drop in the comments what you guys think. So another reason why, and this really gets into and Daryl can back me up on this, why Snyder's movies are so good, because they show Superman goes through this crisis of faith, I think, and that's what BVS is supposed to be. But ultimately, he decides, okay, you know what? This is my home. I have to protect it. That's what he tells Lois. You're my world, and I have to protect you. He ultimately gives his life for everyone. That's my other problem, is that when people were talking about BVS, Superman never saves anyone. Well, first off, you have the whole montage scene where they're talking about Superman on the news, and then he's pulling a tanker, saving people from a flood. And also, when you see that dude in the wheelchair, he has like newspapers like plastered on his walls. It's all about Superman saving people. And I said this to Enosh when I had him on the show. I'm like, wait a second, dude. It seems like people just don't watch the movie. Because if you watch the movie, all your criticism goes away. Goes away. So, and that gets into another part of my thing. Superman inspired Batman. In other words, remember, in the beginning of BVS, before Batman and Superman actually had a conversation after Batman defeated Superman, Batman was all like, okay, we have to kill this dude. There's even a 1% chance that he is our enemy. We have to take that as an absolute certainty. And then he's inspired by by Superman's death to form the Justice League and say, I made a promise on his grave. I'm not failing him in death. And then at the end of the movie, and I mean this as Zack Snyder's Justice League, Martian Manhunter shows up and goes, hey, can I join your super secret team? And then Batman's like, okay, cool. Glad to have you. Character growth, people. But anyway, also, Superman, I think, is the... try to think of how best to say this. Well, first off, I think Superman is a part of and has the best storylines in all of comic bookdom ever. If you think about it, All-Star Superman, any Justice League story, Superman Doomsday, all of these are like some of the pillars of comic book storytelling involving Superman. And that's what really makes me a little peeved when I see like what Bendis did with Superman or what Tom Taylor does with Superman. It's like, guys, you guys clearly don't understand the character, and why don't you give it to someone that actually does understand the character? That's my point there. But it's really like, when it comes to Superman, I think he is one of the most misunderstood characters in all of comic bookdom. Now, what do I mean by that? I was having a conversation with someone at the beach, and they were like, oh, Superman's so boring. I mean, he's invincible. He has like all the powers. There's no like conflict. And I'm like, first, going back to what I said at the beginning of the stream, the conflict is that Superman, like, essentially it has to hold back constantly. Like he can't be his full self because otherwise he'll destroy the world. And again, going back to what I said in the beginning of the stream, he chooses to protect us. It's the whole idea about how you have someone that has all the power in the world but chooses to use that power to benefit others. There you go. That's the quintessential superhero. And in terms of villains, he has plenty of villains that fight him and provide effective like counters, like say Brainiac or at times Lex Luthor. Doomsday killed him the first time. So I'm like, wait a second here. It's a bit, everyone's being a little disingenuous. And you also have Darkseid, who when he first who like in that one arc of the Superman animated series, brainwashed Superman and turned him into a weapon. Like, come on, guys, this is really simple here. So that's why I think that Superman is like the most underrated superhero of all time. And once again, if you guys have your own thoughts on Superman, you can drop them in the comments. Now I'm going to talk about Superman movies. Now, okay, so we have the classic Christopher Reeve Superman movie, which that was good for that time period. And I had this conversation with Enosh as well. It's good for that time period. Now, okay, I don't think the movie holds up well when held against like the more modern superhero movies, because it's like my biggest problem with those movies coming into it when I did was, okay, so you have this character that has the power of gods, and everyone instantly trusts him. What? That makes no sense. Which is why I love BVS, because BVS is like, yeah, this is realistically what would happen at any time period if someone that has Superman's power shows up and goes, don't worry, I'm just here to help you. Really? Sure you are. I'm like, what? That's the theme of BVS. Oh, and Nick's here.
Hello. Sorry I'm late. I lost track of time, and when you sent me the link, I was in the middle of making tacos, so I figured finish making the tacos, and then I'll munch on them while discussing the Ezra Miller situation and whatnot. So how are you doing?
Doing pretty well. I'm glad to see you have your priorities straight. Tacos always come first.
Yes. Tacos over Ezra Miller any day.
Yes, of course. Before we talk about that, though, I want to know, what's your favorite Superman movie?
Oh, that's a tough one. I'd have to say 1976.
Is that the one with
Christopher Reeve?
Yeah, I was just talking about that, because my one issue with that movie is that he shows up and everyone instantly trusts him.
Yeah, but that was during like the good old oh, Superman, whatever, that kind of stuff. Though I will say I do have a bit of a soft spot for Superman Returns. I feel like it's a bit unjustly hated.
Superman Returns. Yeah, the problem with that movie is that it didn't have enough action for people. And they kind of made Superman kind of like a stalker in that movie.
Yeah, also it got cocked.
And I didn't like the suit because the S was much too small. I was like, that seems kind of odd. Although I liked Brandon Routh as Superman.
Yeah, that was during the period where they were trying to modernize everything. I mean, like, look at the difference between like the Raimi suit, Spider-Man suit, and then the Amazing Spider-Man suit. It's like the Raimi was trying to go for more of a classic look. Wow, the Amazing suit, which the suit is good. Don't get me wrong. Andrew Garfield's suit is really beautiful, both of them. But you can really tell they're going for more of a modern design.
Exactly. So now also, another thing. So what's your favorite Superman comic? Mine is All-Star.
I'd have to say the same, really, because like I haven't read too much Superman.
Mm-hmm.
No, I got to amend it. Death and Return of Superman. That storyline is so good, that whole trilogy.
I think they're putting out a new Omni for that. Which, yeah, that is so good, because you see Superman. He's that's where like we see Superman break his one no killing rule that doesn't exist, because he's like, okay, there's no way I can tactically subdue this dude. He's going down.
See, here's the thing that see people like to Superman has a no kill rule. Batman has a no killing rule.
Debatable, but okay.
I mean, that it's more tied to what I'm saying is the no killing is more of a Batman thing than it is a Superman thing.
That's true, but also
Superman is more he'll preserve life as much as he can, but if he has to take a life and there's no other choice, he'll do it. That's kind of more what I think of when I think of Superman.
Mm-hmm. Can you please stop comparing Henry Cavill to Christopher Reeve's Superman? Both versions were done in two different directors. My favorite Superman comic is The Reign of Superman. First, fantastic point, Daryl, and two, fantastic comic.
I mean, okay, let's okay. So here's like my list of Superman. First is Christopher Reeve. Second is Henry Cavill.
Yeah, mine is reversed.
Henry Cavill is literally the only Brandon Routh did a decent enough job. Dean Cain was okay. Tim Daly is amazing. I mean, but he's a voice actor. But Henry Cavill was the first one to kind of give me the Christopher Reeve energy.
Yeah, exactly. And here's the thing. With me, it's reversed. I like Henry Cavill more, but that's just because that was my first Superman movie. So I feel more of a connection to that version of the character.
That's perfectly fair. That is perfectly understandable.
Plus the fact, I think it's pretty obvious by this point who my favorite director is. So of course.
Oh yeah, Joss Whedon, of course.
Oh, don't you dare! Where's that remove button? Daryl even says you forgot Tom Welling.
Oh my God! As a person, I grew up with Smallville, so that's a shame. That is.
Wait a second! You forgot Tom Welling.
Dishonor on you, dishonor on your cow, dishonor on your family.
Yeah, I may have to take away your nerd card on that one.
Seriously, I grew up with I had the DVDs for the first 4 seasons, and I watched those. So it's
I like how that show, my one qualm with that show, and I get the reasoning for it, so I understand why they couldn't do it, but I'm like, C and D, F tier DC characters show up, but no references to Superman to Wonder Woman or Batman existing in the universe. Just make a reference to it.
Well, I think they mentioned Gotham once or twice, but they wanted to have a young Bruce Wayne on the show. I remember specifically that.
Because I'm like, wait a second, they're his best friends. Whether or not you want to put Superman with Wonder Woman as a couple, they're best friends, and they don't show up in the show that's literally Superman.
Yeah, I understand them not putting Bruce Wayne on the show because they're doing the Dark Knight trilogy at the time. But Wonder Woman, they weren't doing anything. I think Joss Whedon was trying to get his Wonder Woman movie off the ground at the time. That ended up not working out. Though, to be fair, he was going to cast Cobie Smulders as Wonder Woman. And honestly, at the time, Cobie Smulders, a 2000s era Total Show, probably would have done a decent enough job as Wonder Woman. Have you seen, you used Maria Hill in the Avengers. Seriously, she could have handled the action.
Yeah, I could see. Yeah, she wouldn't be that bad. Obviously, I'm more partial to Gal Gadot, but that's besides the point. But
I mean,
it's Gal Gadot.
Yeah.
The thing I love about Zach is that he literally casts the real life versions of these characters.
He literally cast gods.
Yeah, literally. And in the case of Aquaman, he improved upon Aquaman. So I'm like, okay. But
Henry Cavill, the only man who can make painting Warhammer 40K figures sexy to women.
Lex Luthor in Smallville was the badass. I agree with you on that one. Played by the voice actor for Wally West in Justice League.
And then there's an episode where they switch places where Wally West and Lex Luthor switch places. So
yeah, I love that one. That was great. But yeah, actually, let me ask you this: what's your favorite Smallville episode? And you can drop in the chat too, Daryl.
Probably the Justice League episode they did, just called Justice.
Yeah, mine too. I liked how even back then they had the Green Arrow voice changer, so even they were like, yeah, it's stupid for them to not have a voice changer. Plus, I actually liked who they had playing Aquaman. I thought he did a pretty decent job.
Okay, you want to know what's hilarious?
What?
Originally, they did an Aquaman pilot that never got aired.
I was about to say that they had on DC Universe, and the actor that plays Green Arrow is Arthur.
Also, the actor who plays Aquaman in Smallville, like the actual actor in the show,
Mhm.
is a guy who played Hawk in Titans.
And Jack Reacher.
The only Jack Reacher.
The only Jack Reacher, yeah, that's right.
Seriously, have you seen clips of that show? It looks so good.
I've seen the show. It's really good. It's really good. So yeah. So as you can tell, we're pretty much big Superman fans. Okay, so let me ask you this, Nick. What did you think about Superman killing Zod in Man of Steel?
Inevitable, really. Plus, like, a lot of people use the defense of, like, did you see the next 30 seconds where he literally screamed in agony?
Yeah,
he didn't want to have to do that. Like my vision of Superman is he kills if there's no other choice.
He literally kept telling Zod, "Don't make me do this. Don't do this. Stop it." And he goes, "Nope, I'm not stopping." And then he was like, and finally he was like, Justice League episode. So Daryl's favorite episodes are the Justice League episode, of course, and season 9 when he met younger General Zod. Ooh. That was a good one. But yeah, so that's my point, is that no one watches these movies close enough because they're like, "Oh, Superman killed." Yeah, but he didn't like start maniacally laughing like Ultraman. He wasn't like, "I snapped someone's neck." No, he was like, "I can't," because when you think about it, at that point, he and Zod were the last survivors of Krypton. He just killed the last. He just made it so he is the only survivor of Krypton now.
I mean, until Supergirl appears.
Until Supergirl appears in The Flash. Speaking of The Flash, let's transition to the Ezra Miller situation. I did an Under Two Capes episode of this that's going up tomorrow, but I want to do a live stream discussion on this with you. So, all right.
Where in the world is Ezra Miller?
Yeah. So
I just want to do that. Otherwise, you get a copyright claim if you played it. So I just saw it real quick.
Yeah, it's okay. But, all right. So my basic thinking of this movie is that what they should do is cut out like as much of the Ezra stuff as they can, and then
basically just like the whole movie is like a black screen.
No, cut out, put a little bit of Ezra, and then reshoot it so it's a Batman Beyond, a Batman Flashpoint movie. Because that's about the because see, yes, I understand. Because here's the thing. I acknowledge that it would be a lot of money for them to reshoot the entire Justice League movie. Justice League. I'm getting to that. The entire Flash movie. But let's not forget, they reshot 80% of Justice League and made it horrible. But the point, did you guys watch Young Justice Season 4, Amazing Season? Yes, it was. It was very amazing. Nick, you watched it?
I need to see it still.
You have to watch that season. It's so good. So anyway, but
I'll put it on the list.
Yes. Definitely watch it and we'll do a stream about it. But my point is that Warner Brothers has a history of reshooting and redoing movie significant stuff in order to
here's what you do.
Yeah.
You call up CW, say, "Hey, we're gonna need Grant for about a week." So you fly him up to wherever, put him into a booth, wrap a green cloth over his body so only his head is appear, have him do all the Flash scenes, just filming his head, and then put that on Ezra's body.
The problem with doing that is that they had the Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover where Ezra met Grant. So it kind of screws around with the multiverse thing.
Who cares? I mean, at this point, who cares? That's my opinion.
I still think they should cast Dylan O'Brien to play the Flash, but that's besides the point.
I mean, if they do that, I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. That'll be fine. I'm not opposed to that. I just, Grant, you're talking about that scene. Like, have you seen that scene? Like, if you watch that scene, you can tell that Grant Gustin is like leagues a better actor.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But
like, I watched it like 20 minutes, about an hour ago, because I was doing like a post on Twitter about it, and Ezra was like doing very cringy, superficial acting, whereas Grant was like very subdued, more subtlety to his acting. Like, it was night and day. Like, one could say Grant was running circles around him.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
that's great. I
couldn't
love
do it.
that.
I have no shame. I have no shame.
This is the pun show. It's okay. You can do puns. But I mean, is it really too far beyond the point of possibility that you think that they would just delay the movie even further, first off, and then reshoot everything to put a new Flash actor? That's a question.
I mean, honest. Here's what they should do. They should take what they have and then turn the movie into a Batman Beyond movie.
Yeah, exactly. That's the best way because, I mean, you could still have
like the footage you have with him in the bat suit. Have it be flashbacks. Have it be whatever, and then you can use the Batman footage. Like use sets. Like literally, you could use the sets from the movie and have it just be a Batman Beyond movie. Turn it into a Batman Beyond movie. Like seriously.
Or really, so we wouldn't have to change too much a Batman Flashpoint movie. There you go. Problem
but
solved.
I want a Batman Beyond movie.
I know, but they're not gonna. That would require an entire script rewrite too. This would require the least amount of work, I think, is if they turn it into a Batman Flashpoint movie.
Well, maybe at that point they could probably bring in Thomas Dean Anderson as Thomas Wayne Batman.
Yes.
Jeffrey Dean Morgan, sorry.
Yeah, I was about to say. Wait a second,
because he played Thomas Wayne in Batman v Superman as Thomas Wayne.
And he and Lauren Cohen have both expressed interest in playing the Flashpoint versions of their characters.
Like Jeffrey Dean Morgan has said on multiple occasions he'd love to play Thomas Wayne Batman, and the setup is already been done. It's already there.
Yeah, Tyler Posey could be Dick Grayson and Dylan could be Barry Allen in the DCEU, and that's how we get our Teen Wolf actors together again. That's good, Daryl. I love that. But yes, that it's set up. You already have it established that these actors play these specific characters. You could easily just make it a Flashpoint movie.
I mean, that's what they were wanting to do, but like they kind of got away from that.
But the other issue is that let's say in the let's go with the least possible scenario where they pull the movie and decide we're not going to release it. Okay, so if they do that, what happens to the rest of the DCEU? Because here's the issue: Flash is essentially sets up the subsequent two movies. What I think they should do is take Batgirl, say it takes place in the Burtonverse, and cut Keaton out of Aquaman and just end it there.
Why? What? Cut Keaton out of Aquaman?
Yeah, he was going to show up in Aquaman 2.
Keaton?
Yeah, Keaton.
As what?
Batman.
Why?
I don't know why. Because
are they trying to turn
Keaton? Run out of ideas and is banking on nostalgia. That's why.
Like, I understand bringing Keaton back as Batman. The Burton Batman. It's a multiverse movie. Sure, fine, that works, fine. But at that point, honestly, it would make more sense to bring Robert Pattinson into Aquaman 2. At that point, just say they could just retcon and say the Batfleck never existed. The Batman in the main line is the Patterson one. That would make more sense than bringing in Keaton.
Except that here's the problem with that is that Matt Reeves has been very clear that he doesn't want his Batman to be connected to anything. So
I respect him for that. That's just being smart,
Mm-hmm.
So no argument there. That's I applaud him for sticking to his guns still.
Yeah, I know, but that's the issue there. And I mean, let me ask you this: what do you think happens if they decide to pull the Flash?
You saying if the Flash pulls the hamstring?
No, what I mean is that if they decide we're not going to release the Flash.
He said they pulled the Flash, so I said what? Pulling hamstring? Sorry, bad joke is bad joke. I think right now WB has a sunk cost fallacy when it comes to the Flash. They've invested so much money into it, just to throw everything into the bin would kind of be poor decision making.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
True.
I still think Warner Brothers might just say, you know what, frick it. We're hiring a new Flash actor. We're not going to reshoot all of Ezra's scenes, but we're going to shoot out most of them to make this new Flash the main actor, and the Ezra Flash is just going to be like a variant, so that way we don't have to reshoot all the scenes, you know.
What they could do is just have like a portion of the movie be Ezra, and then somehow going through the time portal or like through the Speed Force, his face changes. There you go, done.
I mean, it's stupid, but at this point, I don't think I have a better idea.
At this point, look this way: do not underestimate Warner Brothers' capacity to make stupid decisions. Remember, we were stuck for 3 years.
I just want a Batman Beyond movie. I keep coming back to that, but like I want a Batman Beyond movie.
We all do.
I want it in the Burtonverse, and I want Alicia Silverstone to come back as Commissioner Gordon, well, she was a Pennyworth in that, but like, like I want her to be Commissioner Barbara Pennyworth, and have it be Alicia Silverstone come back.
That'd be great.
Sorry.
And then Daryl Taylor says the DCU would be in limbo, and I guess everything would be the focus on Black Adam and the JSA. That's an option too. They could center it around the JSA. But what I
wouldn't be surprised if that's what they try and do. Bring in like Black, because like they got Black Canary and Birds of Prey, like that abomination of a movie.
Well, they would have to do it depending on. Yeah, I guess they could do that. Or also, here's another thing they could do, and I said this on my Under Two Capes episode that's going out tomorrow. It's a good thing that Warner Brothers didn't do anything with the Snyderverse after the Snyder Cut. You know why? Because that way, Zack could just recast. He just recast. Just put Emilia Clarke as Mara. Put Dylan O'Brien as the Flash, and you're good to go. That's it. Good. Just
because my problem with Flashpoint as like the first storyline, like that's a second or third movie plot line.
I agree with you on that one, but
like I want an actual like Flash movie before you start like kind of like. There's a reason why even for the home trilogy they waited till the third movie to start doing multiverse shenanigans.
But yeah,
like imagine No Way Home was the first Holland Spider-Man movie.
Daryl also says, "Thank God we did not get that New Gods movie." That might have been pretty good, though. So I'm not exactly like.
Well, the director they had lined up was bad,
and it's being written by Tom King. So I'm like, oh no. But so go back to my thing. Going back to your thing on Flashpoint being the first Flash movie, how many like well-known Flash stories are there though besides Flashpoint?
You can make up your own. Like it's not that hard to make a Flash movie, plot-wise.
Oh, that's true. But a lot of these people in Hollywood aren't creative enough to do that. I've established that on the show multiple times.
Like the first Flash movie, have him face Captain Cold. There, good. There, bam.
There you go. And then
Captain Cold is basically the Green Goblin of the Flash Rogues Gallery.
Yeah, there you go. Just do that. But
or if you want some diversity, have Weather Witch. Do Weather Witch.
There you go. But as we know, Warner Brothers has a problem with finding creative solutions to problems. Now,
hey, quick aside: if they do Captain Cold, who should play him?
That's a good question.
I mean, the first person I would say.
That's what I would say. The CW actor would actually be really good for this role.
Yeah. What about Arnold Schwarzenegger? It would never happen. But that was just a troll. That was a thrower.
Hell no, brother. No. That would make people really. Then it would look even more like Warner Brothers that does have a plan for the bank on nostalgia.
Hear me out. Taylor Lautner
as Captain Cold.
Yeah.
Oh, there have been Flash stories about the Rogues and the Flash family. Yeah, I acknowledge that, but how many of them are like more widestream known than just Flashpoint? Because when you think of Flash, most people think of Flashpoint because they have the animated movie and so forth. Because there hasn't been that much other Flash content beyond Flashpoint.
Or here's the thing. It's not just storylines. that we have to worry about. It's also characters. Like, what Flash villains are iconic or semi-iconic? We got
there's
Trickster.
Reverse Flash.
Reverse Flash is pretty much his Joker.
Mhm.
Captain Cold, and then the Trickster.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, if they do the Trickster, please, for the love of God, hire Mark Hamill. Like, he was actually, they had him as a live-action Trickster. Like, I mean, he was a Trickster in the original version, but he was basically doing Joker light, and it was so good.
I agree with you on that one, Daryl. Too. They could do Flash Rebirth, and that would actually be an interesting idea. What they do is that they basically use this to establish a new Flash. That's actually a good idea. They might do that, but I wouldn't. I have lost all faith in Warner Brothers. Hopefully, Zaslav's axe comes through and just axes off the last strain of the old regime, which was Hamada.
All right. Well, here's a question: if they're doing all this stuff, who should play the original Flash? What's his name?
John Wesley Shipp?
No, like the original.
Oh, Jay Garrick.
Yeah, because if they're gonna bring in like a Jay Garrick, be like an older Flash, who should do like? I mean, I'm not against John Wesley Shipp, because he could do. I mean, he has played Jay Garrick before, but like, I'm trying to think. It would have to be an actor in their 40s or 50s, kind of thing, an older one. I mean, John Wesley Shipp would be the perfect choice because like he's a good actor, and there's also the whole thing.
Yeah, I think he could pull it off. Daryl brings up Captain Cole as a good backstory, which makes you feel sorry for the villain. Yeah, that's true. That's very true. That's why, again, Nick said he should be the first villain, and I acknowledge that. And you keep it small enough, so it's so you should always keep the first movie villain grounded, I think, except for like Superman, because
that's what I'm saying. Like, instead of the first movie trying to adapt some famous storyline, you just take a well-known or semi-well-known villain and do what they did with Spider-Man 1, the Green Goblin, create an original story around this villain.
True. That works. Now here's the thing. Now, going back, now let me ask you this. How would you, let me ask you this, Nick. What would you do if you were in Warner Brothers' position? And don't say, turn this into a Batman Beyond movie because that's off the table.
I turned it into a Batman Beyond movie.
I said don't do that.
I put it back on the table, okay?
I swiped it back off because that's not an option.
And then I reached in my pocket, pulled out my Batman Beyond DVD box set, put it back on the table. Oh, okay, let's be serious.
Hey, Nerdman's here. If you want a link, send me a DM on Twitter, and I'll also send you the link.
All right, Jared, ask me the question seriously this time.
All right. What would you do if you were Warner Brothers in this position?
I'd call up Bruce Campbell, be like, hey, you know how you joked about being Mara? Okay. No,
he shows up in the suit.
Oh, wait. No, I actually have a way to make this work legitimately. They calls up Bruce Campbell, and they shoot a promo where Bruce Campbell's in the suit, but then he says, oh, no, I'm not being Mira. I just felt like cross-dressing today. Here's your Mira. And it pans over, and it's Amelia Clark.
Yes, exactly. That'd be a fantastic.
Oh, my God. Can you imagine how much that would set the internet on fire?
Oh, my gosh. That'd be so great.
Like Bruce Campbell would be like, no, I just felt like cross-dressing today. And it's just like,
That would work. So I think at that point we've talked all about Ezra, because I don't want to make this whole stream about Ezra. Now, let me ask you this, Nick. Going back to the original topic of the stream, why do you think Superman is a great character?
I think the reason I think he's a great character, why he's endured almost 100 years. Like, you got to realize 1938. So we're coming up on the 100th anniversary of the character. I mean, that's pretty important. A character lasting 100 years.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I think he's a symbol. It's what he represents. He is the best of us. He's a symbol to strive for. He's someone we can always look up to. He's an endless beacon of hope. He, it's like, look up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. No, it's Superman. It's like, hearing that Superman is coming, it's supposed to fill you with positivity. You know, it's like that, and I feel like John Williams really captured like the essence of Superman with this. Like that's why like all the movies they kept using the Superman theme, the Superman march that John Williams did, because it distilled,
It did capture it.
You know, like, and that's I feel like Christopher Reeve really captured that version of Superman. I think that's why Christopher Reeve is such an iconic portrayal. Like, don't worry, I got you, miss. You got me. Who's got you? It's like, it's just like the first movie can get a little bit saccharine at times, but it's just still, it's kind of like a chicken soup kind of thing, really.
That's true, and that gets into one of the points that I've always said about Superman is that he's more than just a dude. He's an ideal. He's the ideal that no matter what, we can always overcome like anything as long as we believe in ourselves.
He is the best of us.
He's the best of us, exactly. And it's really also another thing I mentioned before you came on is that all the other superheroes take their cues from him. So
even Batman, like even in like every continuity, even in the Snyderverse,
yeah,
even in the Snyderverse, like they'll if he's like a 1% chance that he's their enemy, even that version comes to realize, okay, this guy was the real deal.
He goes, there's no us without him. We need him. Exactly. And go back. That's why I think people don't give Zack enough credit, because he clearly understands the character well enough to understand his impact on the entire DC universe, because he inspires the creation of the Justice League.
One thing I do like about like Man of Steel, Dawn of Superman, Dawn of Justice, or whatever, is it really kind of touches upon some stuff that we've never really gone into, like what would be the real impact of Superman on our world. And like I feel like the one thing that the Zack Snyder movies did is it got into the head of Superman, the conflicts he's having as Superman, because like even in the Christopher Reeve movies, they barely touch upon the conflict of being Superman, and I feel like they did, the Man of Steel and Dawn of Justice did a really good job of getting into the head of Clark and being like, should I be this world's savior? Like, I feel like it did a really good job.
Yeah, I remember, like after the Capitol bombing, he goes to see Lois. He starts to have doubts. He's like, Superman was never real. It was just the dream of of a farmer from Kansas. Then throughout the entire movie, he understands that, well, to other people, and Lois says that in the movie, she's like, that may be true, but to other people, you're more than just the dream of some farmer from Kansas. You are the savior of the world. Remember, and that's when he sacrifices himself to fight Doomsday. And you notice, as soon as he makes that sacrifice, everyone on Earth is more like, no, this dude was legit.
And that funeral scene in Dawn of Justice, it hits hard.
Oh yeah.
That and like that black casket, and then like you kind of see like the stuff kind of move right before it. It's great. And
then getting into Justice League, when he comes back, they spent that entire movie, and I mean the Zack Snyder Justice League, for those who don't know, they spent the entire movie hyping up that the Apocalyptians are afraid of Superman. That's why the mother boxes didn't call it the Steppenwolf when Victor's father turned him into Cyborg. Then when he shows up in the black suit and the axe hits his shoulder and it just doesn't even leave a dent.
Not impressed.
Yeah, he just goes not impressed, and he beats the crap out of Steppenwolf.
I will say, I kind of do prefer his entrance in Justice League. That's the one good thing. I'm also a fan of Justice, and then he punches him.
That is so corny. What are you talking about?
And then you hear the doo doo doo, like you hear the hint of the theme, and it's like, it's corny, but
Daryl Taylor has a good point. People only think Zach read the Superman stories from the New 52, and I think that is what pissed hardcore comic book fans and old school Superman fans off. That's true. You can definitely feel the inspiration of the New 52 in the Zack Snyder movies. Absolutely.
Wait, question. I need to look up when the New 52 even started.
It was around the time of Man of Steel.
So Man of Steel, I feel like really wasn't created with it. September
Man of Steel came out,
2011.
I think, the year after the New 52 started, because I think that happened in 2012.
Okay, so like I feel like Man of Steel was at least partially created outside of the New 52. I mean, they could have
2011,
said,
so it's actually 2 years. So Man of Steel happened in 2013. So and the New 52
okay, that's a
2011.
little bit different. I will admit, like that's kind of enough time where, yeah, I withdraw.
But you also have to like understand that. Okay, so here's what Zach did. He still had the beats that everyone wants to see for Superman, but he didn't beat you over the head with it. You actually had to think and see. Oh, I see it now. It's not like
I think
you could just watch a movie.
I think the one semi legitimate point you can make against Man of Steel is the "I am Jesus." Like he did kind
Oh
of
yeah.
go a little bit overboard with the Jesus, like literally having him go off the ship in the Jesus pose, like
He goes, I've been here
that's
for 33 years, General.
like that's kind of beating you over the head with it. Like, I mean, the whole going to church thing, like, yeah, I can defend that scene all day long. Like that is fine. Like you know, of course, you know, someone like Clark, when he needs guidance, he'd go to a church and ask a pastor. Like that's perfectly in line with that version of Clark, and I do love that scene. Like I love the pastor where he realizes it. You can see the fear in his face. He takes a gulp, but he keeps going.
Yeah.
Like he knows. Okay, all these aliens, they want to kill this person, but okay, do my job, and I really respect that character.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like the thing about Zach is that he puts it in there, so it's still there. But but people are too much on the surface level and not thinking, and people are too quick to judge. Big surprise for the internet, but they're too quick to judge. In other words, when the Snyder Cut came out, the first thing I saw trending, besides Restore the Snyderverse, was, "I'm sorry, Zack Snyder. I understand it now."
I
Because
mean, I mean, look at Sucker Punch. You know, the Zack Snyder film.
yeah.
People think, oh, it's just tits and ass and fantasy. Like when they don't realize there's literally 3 different realities to that film.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's our reality. There's kind of like the hyper reality, and then there's like the whole fantasy stuff.
Yeah.
There's literally 3 different and you only really see the reality in the the real world in the beginning and the end of the film. Most of the film takes place in the second layer.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and like there's a lot of and there's a lot of really good themes in that film. You know, so, I mean, there's it's about release, it's about letting go. You know, it's.
And Gerald Taylor brings up this point. People were mad over the fact that he was not saving people in both Smallville and Metropolis. And John Campea actually had a fantastic point on this because he's a defender of Man of Steel up the yin yang. He said this was also Clark's first time getting into a fight with people that were as strong as him. He's not, because that's the other thing. People wanted Man of Steel to establish Clark as the Superman we know, that's experienced fighter that knows how to combat people. No,
I mean, didn't he be in the movie? Didn't he literally just put on the suit like 5 minutes before?
Yeah,
that?
like it was
so, like he's only been. I've only been Superman for about an hour, so could you give me a break?
Yeah, I'm like, wait a second here. This is his first, and not only that, he's in a fight with people that have been trained for war. These are the Kryptonian warriors.
Like, yeah, they're just as fast, just as strong, probably stronger, you know. Mm-hmm. And plus, they have the training of warriors. So it's like, it's honestly the fact that he didn't get clobbered within 5 minutes is really astounding.
Yeah, and wait a second, he didn't save people. First off, he did save all of Metropolis with the World Engine, and then he saved the pilot that fell out of the helicopter. I'm like, come on, no one clearly watched these movies.
And another thing, like I think there was kind of like quick scenes where Superman was trying to save people, but like Zod would be like, nope, you're fighting me.
Yeah, and they wanted him to be the Christopher Reeves version. That's my other problem, is that people seem to not be willing to see another interpretation, and they take their favorite version of the character as the only version that exists. Hey, Sean,
and here's the problem.
I love your Avatar emblem, by the way. That's my favorite. That's one of my favorite scenes in the movie.
They say they want the Christopher Reeve version back, But the one time they did get the Christopher Reeve version back, no one really showed up because Superman Returns is literally in the Christopher Reeve universe.
Yeah,
Brandon
exactly.
Routh is literally playing Christopher Reeve's character. Because Superman Returns is 3 and 4 never happened. 1 and 2 is basically it goes off of that continuity. It's at best an alternate timeline, I guess.
Okay.
But like,
that's the
but
idea.
it's still within the Christopher Reeve continuity. Brandon Routh is playing Christopher Reeves as Superman, and like literally he was cast because he looked like Christopher Reeve. And honestly, I think he did a decent enough job trying to emulate Christopher Reeve. You know, I do think the woman they got to play Lois Lane was not playing a Margot Robbie version. She was just playing.
Hey, hot takes here. What's up, man?
Hey, dude.
So
What's up, bro?
Yeah, so we're talking about Superman and the Snyderverse and all that stuff. So, what's your favorite Superman comic? Well, since you just got in.
That's a good question. I mean, there's quite a few that I kind of go back to quite a lot.
Ours is All Star.
I do. All Star is great. All Star is really, really great.
Death and Return of Superman is mine.
Yeah. Okay.
I do go back to Red Sun a lot, and
oh yes,
I go back to. I really like the Earth One books 1 and 2.
Which is literally Man of Steel. So.
Yeah. A lot of it is Man of Steel. And what was the one sorry, there was a Superman. There's one that I'm forgetting. Oh, it's this one where Superman just is. It's like a alternate world Superman story where there's a guy who's just born as Clark Kent. He's like a human guy or whatever, supposedly. And his parents call him Clark Kent, and he's from Kansas. And he ends up having Superman's powers when he's older, but it's like he's not actually Superman from the comics. It's like in his world, there's a comic called Superman and blah, blah, blah.
Oh, I know what that is. I know what that is. That's Superboy Prime's origin.
No. This is I'll tell you what it's called, but it's a really, really good comic. Give me a second. But yeah, no, those, and I really love Superman's origin stories. So I go back to a lot of the origins, like Birthright and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. And there's so many great reinterpretations of that origin story.
Has anyone read American Alien?
I haven't yet. I want to.
Yeah, I heard it was
Alien is one of my favorites as well. Fantastic comic.
So what do you think about like more recent years that they've been trying to play the immigrant aspect of Superman's character?
I think it's interesting. I mean, he is the kind of ultimate immigrant kind of story, but I don't like when they make it that he's then alien.
A literal legal alien.
I mean, it's fine for him to be seen as this ultimate kind of immigrant, I suppose, as Superman. But when they make Clark Kent have features as if he's alien to this world, that doesn't really make sense for me. It's like he's in some ways, like the story goes, he's more human, or he's raised with those the greatest of human values, right, by his parents, and that's why he's he's more empathetic, he's more human, he's more just this kind of ideal. So when they make him, as I said, it's like I think also, like that's kind of Wonder Woman's territory in some sense. It's like she's the one who's like super powerful, but she comes from another world and really doesn't understand this world. Superman is supposed to be like, he understands, he gets it, right? It's just because he's raised like that way. So
it's a good one. So okay, so and now All right, nerd man. You and I both know that you've had sort of a love-hate relationship with Zack Snyder's Superman. Now, why don't you summarize that for us right now?
To summarize it, I mean, your question earlier, why is Superman, I think, the greatest superhero? I can't remember what you said, Nick. What was it that you said?
Can you remind me?
It's like you said that like he represents the best of us or something like that.
Yeah,
Okay.
that like the best of us. He's the greatest of all of us. He's it just his mere presence gives you hope. There's just the thought of him kind of gets together. He's supposed to be a symbol, an ideal to strive for.
He's supposed to overcome and be the guy who nonetheless always does what he thinks is the right thing to do, right?
Yeah.
He's supposed to have these kind of set of values, these unshakable set of values that he will trust. Right thing. He does what he believes to be the right thing. Always. That will never be compromised, right? I think that's kind of the core essence of the character. Yeah. And I don't believe that really is in Man of Steel. And yet, on another level, I think I've grown up and I've matured a little bit since, because to me, Superman is the kind of ultimate archetype of a superhero. Like he's got everything. He's got the Lois Lane, girlfriend character that he's always, that his secret identity. She's in love with Superman, but his secret identity of Clark Kent is always longing for her. He's got the Metropolis City. He's got, the great villains. He's got all of that kind of stuff. And the reason I see him as kind of like this, the greatest superhero to me is because the archetype of him is so pure that it ends up just by default being the most significant symbol in superhero storytelling. So much so that think about how many versions, ways that they've copied Superman recently with Homelander.
There's been so many
different types of
clones.
It's because that archetype is so powerful. You can't get away from it. And it's something that you have to wrestle with. It's, can you really believe in a man this good, right? Can you believe in a man this powerful and this virtuous at the same time?
I just wonder if you believe that a man can fly.
Yeah, can you believe a man can fly? All of those kind of things, those parts, the strong iconography of him, you just can't escape from it. And that's why nobody does that for Spider-Man. There's no Homelander version of Spider-Man where everyone's wrestling with the ideas of what would happen if he existed, right? It's specific to Superman. That's why whenever someone tells me Superman isn't relevant anymore, I say, well, then why are there so many versions of him out there? He's completely relevant. And exploring the notion, and I think this is what Zack Snyder did that was actually interesting, exploring the notion of what it would be if a being like that existed, I think is fascinating.
Yeah.
So I just think the problem was, as I said, for that to be really fascinating for me, I would have liked to see a little bit more of the Superman, the moral Superman. The Superman that is incorruptible, the Superman that, again, will always find another way to do the right thing, or find the way to do the right thing. And I think if that was more in those movies, and also, sorry, like this is the last thing, because I've got a little bit to say on this, but like this what I love about certain DC characters is the variations, the amount of versions you can have of them, where you can still stay consistent with the character underlying beliefs and underlying core of their character, them a different way, and it still makes sense. So you can do an adult version of Superman, and yet you can do the most, one version that's like aimed at like 5-year-olds, right? And it completely makes sense. You can take that mythology and make it as pure as a simple, Saturday morning cartoon, and as complex and interesting, as an alien invasion, adult grown-up sci-fi story, right? You say similar thing can be done with Batman. Similar thing can be done with Wonder Woman and a couple of other characters in the DC pantheon as well. And I love that about the character. So in a sense, as I've grown up, and matured and seen people just nitpicking at these kind of movies, and nitpicking at directors taking artistic risks with these characters, I've kind of found myself in the camp where I'm like, I get annoyed by that myself. Like, who are you to like tell everyone else who the Flash is, or who Wonder Woman is, or whatever. Maybe this version just isn't for you. If there are a group of people who really like this version of the character, let them be happy. You've got your version. I'll go back to Chris Reeves, and watch that.
Like that movie never gets old, so we're good.
Yeah.
Debatable, but okay.
Okay. Fighting words.
Yeah, I mean, don't cough.
Newsflash: Man of Steel is not the greatest movie ever made.
Okay, I'll give you that one.
It's a good movie, but it's no Citizen Kane.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I don't, as Jared said, it's not my favorite version. I do think I came around to Henry Cavill once I saw Zack Snyder's Justice League, and I was like, that's what I want to see. I was like, that's what I want to see. But again, as I said, if there's a film franchise and it's made profit, right? It wasn't a flop, okay? And there are a group of people who enjoy that. Who am I to take away their story, their version, the version that they love, because I think it doesn't fit the core of the character?
Exactly.
I'm so fed up of that argument anymore, like that even though I genuinely believe in the case of Man of Steel, I am right. That really does violate the core of the Superman character. But when I see that applied to the Batman, or applied to Spider-Man Homecoming, or applied to people going, oh, that's not the core of the character of Spider-Man, that's da-da-da. And it's like, dude, you're going too far. You don't know what you're talking about anymore. Tell me what you're, if you were to really press people on what they are talking about when they say that isn't the core of the character, with Spider-Man Homecoming, with Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, with the Batman, with every movie that comes out now, that's not my Ant-Man, when
who's making that complaint?
Trust me, there are people. That's not my what's it called? Who's this guy in Black Widow?
That's not my Red Guardian.
That's not my Taskmaster. Fuck off.
So you want to know what sold me on Henry Cavill as Superman?
Sure.
Yeah, go.
I linked you a video. The thing starts about a minute 40.
All right, hang on. I'll pull that up.
It's a late night interview, so I don't think it'll trigger copyright or anything.
All right, hang on. I'll pull this up real quick, and then we can watch.
But yeah, just to finish, that's why
go ahead.
I've kind of taken a new attitude towards Man of Steel in some sense. I'm just like, look, maybe it's just the Superman story that isn't for me. It's not that,
About a minute 40.
Yeah, anyway, go.
All right, here we go.
I can't hear it.
Oh, okay. Oh, I must have not shared the sound.
I've seen this, and I think I know what you're talking.
Oh,
that was my immediate thought when I saw this as well. I was like, man, he could really be good as.
I'm trying to find it. I'm trying to find a way to make this work. All right. So, can you hear it now?
No. When you share, you got to check a box that says "share with sound."
Okay. Share. Okay. Share screen. I don't see a box that says.
It's at the bottom.
With sound.
So it's not here.
Do you want me to do it?
All that's down here is share and cancel.
Yeah, there's like share system audio, I guess.
No, I don't see it here.
All right, well, I'm sharing my screen. Let's try that.
I'll share it.
I got it.
Oh, he's got it. Go ahead, Nick.
All right, let me know if you can hear it.
First time I got the call, I actually missed it. I was playing World of Warcraft at the time and got my priorities straight.
You were home. It's not like you weren't home. You were home, but you were playing World of Warcraft, and the phone rings, and you're like, "I'll get that later."
Absolutely. I'll get that later. And I was playing. It was an important part of a particular dungeon that I was going through, and it's cool now that I'm Superman.
Yeah.
And then I looked across at the last moment and I saw Zack Snyder's name on the phone. So I grabbed the phone and then missed it.
Right.
And so I called him back immediately and said, I'm really sorry. I was saving someone's life.
Which is what I do all the time.
And then he gave me the news.
So you were forgiven.
I was.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, because the dude's a nerd. He understands this stuff.
I just want to like imagine like your guild mates be like, hey, I got to take this call. Like, so Henry, what was it about? Oh, nothing. I'm Superman now. Yeah, like I can just imagine him going back at a mic and telling him like, oh, that was sex. Like, and probably his friends, like they know, like, oh, he was going for the role of Superman. Be like, yeah, I'm Superman now. So
that is so good. Yeah, when you hear this dude talk about like nerd stuff, it's very clear that he gets it.
Yeah, it's like I love watching some of the Witcher interviews where he's talking about like Warhammer 40K, and you can just see the woman being like, if he wasn't so attractive, like I would be rolling. I'm rolling my eyes, but I'd be rolling my eyes more if he wasn't like so attractive.
You saw how many people were going nuts about a video of him building a gaming PC.
Oh, like that Star Wars girl, she sips for him so bad, like. I wouldn't be this is gonna bite me in the butt. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if he used that for inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would rather, a Man of Steel come out, and that mean that creators have or directors can really tackle their vision of the character.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
More
Matt Reeves is the world.
Then have like just safe versions of Superman where every single person's trying to imitate Christopher Reeves, for instance.
Yeah, that's kind of the problem we have with Marvel.
So
sorry.
Safe movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with you because it's like so many. It's like what. My issue was that so I liked it because it wasn't a Christopher Reeves movie. I'm talking about Man of Steel here, and because the first Christopher Reeves movie wasn't my cup of tea because it's too much like, okay, so this guy that has God power shows up and everyone's so cool with him, hanging out and going, don't worry, I'm totally here for good for truth, justice, in the American way. With Man of Steel and BVS, when you take those two together, it's more like, okay, so everyone's being very distrusting of this God character, Batman included, and everyone's even Batman's like, if there's a 1% chance that someone with this much power is a hostile, we have to take him as a hostile. So I'm like, I liked when Zach at least gave us realistic take on what would happen if these characters existed in real life.
Yeah, and then like
I
another
don't-
shade of it is in Man of
Yeah.
Steel. Like after he talks to the general, and he's like, "What's wrong with you, like Lieutenant?" Like, I don't know, sir. He's kind of hot. Like that is just such a natural reaction. I just love it.
Well, yeah.
I didn't love it. I didn't love it. But
By the way, that was. I wouldn't be surprised if that was ad
I
lib.
mean,
That was their actual
do
thoughts.
you know what it is? It's like, I watch the movie and I just go, that's probably not what I would have done. But like, again, see, I see the Batman, for instance, as doing more successfully what Man of Steel tried to do for Superman. But like,
Yeah.
that's just me. I don't know. And another one reason, like I think, like the Batman or Superman Earth One. That Superman Earth One for me is like, I wish they had have just taken that. Like if he had have taken that almost panel for panel, I think it would have made more sense of what he was trying to do with Man of Steel.
Yeah, like touching upon your the Batman versus Man of Steel thing, I think that kind of touches upon like an aspect we haven't really talked about here, where Superman is a really hard character to write, while Batman is an insanely easy character to write, because Superman, he's very hard to harm him. Everything he does is so easy, while Batman, being a human, he struggles, so it's really easy to write a really good Batman story. That's why we've seen so many different versions of Batman, why we've had so many really good Batman movies, while we haven't really had a singular Superman movie to rally around, while we're Batman, we've had a couple of them. It just kind of touches upon.
I think you're right in some sense, but at the same time, I don't know that it's that difficult. I think if you focus on the power of Superman more than the morality and the humanity of the character, I think you're setting yourself up to write a harder movie.
Well, I guess
because
most modern writers, I have a hard time with subtlety, so we're kind of screwed.
Yeah, to me, it's like here's a crazy idea. Just don't make him so powerful.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I don't know that he has to be this guy who can move the earth and push the sun out of orbit. He doesn't need to be that crazy powerful.
I mean, the cat's kind of out of the bag. He's literally the most powerful being on Earth and one of the most powerful beings in the galaxy. You can't really. I mean, maybe you can detune him for a story or two, but just like detune the character, it's easier said than done.
Well, what they could do is bring him back, because in the new 52, when it just started, he wasn't that powerful. He was just in a t-shirt and jeans with his cape, and he wasn't as powerful as he is today. It's like, remember, Superman, when he first showed up, is not the powerhouse he was today. Jumping over buildings in a single bound was his thing. He couldn't fly.
He was faster than a locomotive.
Yeah.
A locomotive!
Mm-hmm.
Locomotives travel at what, 60 miles an hour at their fastest?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think there's ways you can do it. I mean, you could just make him to do it more realistically. You could just have him be sonic speed rather than light speed. You could have him be like very, very, very strong, able to fly, able to do the laser things. But the laser things don't have to be like they're hotter than the core of the sun. It's like I think you could still capture the essence of his powers. Without going like crazy OP about it, so that and then also give him a good villain to take on, like Brainiac. Brainiac is absolutely or Parasite or something like that. Absolutely could take on Superman and give him a really good fight. Metallo even. I kind of would prefer Parasite for the movies, as like a first villain, match
I'd say Parasite is a good second movie.
and then get well, yeah, either second or first villain, but like, Brainiac, I think is way overdue. Like they've done Zod so too many times, in my opinion.
Yeah, Brainiac is
Like,
definitely like a
Brainiac.
third movie villain.
I think he could be either first or second, to be honest.
I don't know, because
I
like
don't
first
know.
is like, because like if we're talking like order of escalation, like like smaller conflicts and kind of building up to it. Brainiac is such a high level villain, having him be the first and kind of like let's like go from Brainiac to Parasite would be kind of like a downgrade. And I feel like because Parasite's a really good villain for a second movie, because first movie you establish the character, the second movie you kind of take a little bit of his powers away, and he's forced to kind of soldier on with like reduced powers. Because you do that for a second movie, because like they have like the first movie, like that's a really good second movie villain.
Yeah, no, I agree with that, but like, I'm looking at it from the perspective of the Man of Steel trilogy, and I personally would have probably like either gone the route of like just doing what they did in Earth One, where like it was the other planet next to him, where this guy came, Daxon, exactly. And just have like that as the first villain. I know he's not as name recognizable as Zod. Fuck it. You could have made Zod from that planet. He doesn't have to be from Krypton. Like you could have.
I don't know. I think the fact that he's Kryptonian really adds to his character, because it adds like a connection to Clark.
Yeah, but again, I think with superheroes, I think you don't really want to mess with the origin that much. But with super villains, I think you can kind of tailor it to the story.
Yeah, I mean, we can agree to disagree on this. It's just like I feel like him being like, because killing Zod means he's killing one of the last people of this planet. So it's kind of like that extra
that's my problem.
tension there.
That's my problem. I don't think you should have killed Zod, but we can argue that all day. But,
yeah, we can agree to disagree.
Yeah, exactly.
I think we could agree to disagree on that. But I don't.
It's okay if you want to be wrong, nerd man. It makes no difference to me.
Yeah, like you're more than welcome to think differently. In fact, I encourage. Life is boring if we all think the same thing.
I mean, or the thing would have been for me, if he was going to kill Zod, that they should have established at some point in the movie what his attitude towards killing is. Right? So that when he makes that choice to kill Zod, that it actually meant something. Right? Like, just like out of the blue. Like, so like if they established
definitely would have made it. Yeah.
I can definitely say that it would have made it a little more. I can see that as a criticism. It's actually a really good criticism.
Like imagine it's kind of like a thing. It's like like you had Pa Kent, Kevin Costner. It's like never take a life, son. You're here to save people. And then right as he's doing it, you hear those words. You hear the voiceover in his head, and he still decides to do it. Like, dang, that would hit hard.
Yeah, exactly.
True. Okay, I definitely. I see you on that. That's actually a really good point. That's a valid criticism. I appreciate.
Well, he is the hot takes guy, so.
I appreciate you being the exception to the rule that everyone on the internet has to be really a-hole-ish about spreading their ideas and like saying I'm right.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, I have an opinion. It doesn't mean I'm right.
Yeah, it's just an opinion. But again, as I said, like. I'd rather see like Man of Steel. I'd rather still see Man of Steel happen, and have directors have their ability to make their, to really give their vision to a character, than
exactly,
the opposite way around, to never be challenged. If honestly, the way I see it, if everyone likes your movie, then you're probably doing something wrong. Like if your movie satisfies everyone, if your movie satisfies like I don't know, like some I'm trying not to get political.
If you're making movies for the MCU, then it would satisfy everyone. Then you're probably doing something wrong.
If you're making movies for Twitter, you're definitely doing something wrong.
you're not making enduring art if
Mhm.
your movie doesn't challenge anyone. If your movie doesn't make people go, you know, like, hey, this makes me uncomfortable. You know, your
Yeah, like
version of this
it's one
character makes me
thing.
uncomfortable.
Yeah, like that kind of opens up the question: what is the worst thing you can be? Like, because there is something to be said for being so terrible that it's memorable. Like, look at The Room, or look at like all the terrible comics or stuff. You know, like people are going to remember that versus like the thousands of mediocre movies and comics, which like the 6 and 7s out of 10s. People are not going to remember them, but like the 1s and 2 movies, people are going to remember Dragon Ball Evolution till the end of time. Unfortunately, people are going to remember Fan Forced it. But like Fantastic Four 2: Rise of Silver Surfer, no one talks about that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Supremely underrated movie, by the way.
So, were you guys talking this Ezra Miller situation earlier?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. What's your take on it? Just out of curiosity.
Well, so my take on it is that they should just cut out as much of the Ezra stuff as they can, reshoot it with Keaton, and make it a Batman Flashpoint movie.
I think they should make it a Batman Beyond movie.
And somehow Nick it kept saying they should make it a Batman Beyond movie somehow.
I don't care. I want my Batman Beyond movie.
But why? Can I ask, just out of curiosity?
Yeah, go ahead.
Why would you do anything to the movie at the moment? Why wouldn't you just release the movie?
Well, because here's the problem with just releasing the movie. It sort of has that implication that Warner Brothers is trying to profit off the Ezra Miller stuff. So, I mean, if they have to release it, just do it on streaming and be done with it. Do not put that movie in theaters, because when you put it in theaters, you also you run the risk of it completely tanking. Which this is the one movie where I think, based upon the Ezra Miller stuff, it's gonna tank. So.
And plus, putting in theaters is such an added expense versus like all I have to do is flick a switch and boom, it's on HBO Max.
Exactly.
I mean, I don't think so at all. I don't. I mean,
what do you think?
I mean, it's complex. I think they need to get ahead of it, but in the end of the day, regarding Ezra Miller, there's 3 parts of this. For me, there's the legal issue. There's then my own personal view, and then there's like the business view, right? So like, to break it down into 3, and I'll start off with the legal and the business view.
Okay.
Legally speaking, I just think, again, people are doing exactly what they did with Johnny Depp when this Amber Heard video first came out, and they're jumping to conclusions. They're not giving what we're supposed to do within our legal system, which is give people the presumption of innocence until proven guilty.
That's fair.
Right?
That's true.
You do not just assume because of headlines in a newspaper that somebody is. I mean, I've seen people calling him, the P word, because apparently, when he was, I believe, if you think about the age at the time, he would have been like early 20s, right? This is many years ago, like 6 years ago or something like that. This guy would have been, what, 24 years old. Apparently gave somebody, I don't know if this is true, but gave a 12-year-old like some drugs or whatever, and then paid for her to go to college or something like this. And this is all part of a grooming process they're claiming. Now, how the parents know this, is it true? Can it be proven? Any of that is subject to, scrutiny, right? So we don't know anything about this. This is just accusations and sensationalization on the internet. Secondly, you have another case where somebody's saying he touched my child's hips in a suggestive way. You can't even prosecute that. That's not even prosecutable.
True.
He touched my kid's hips. You know, like that could be said of me, dude. Like I work in a school with young children, right? And I've, you know, like during a fight or something like that, like between the kids, I've stopped them, you know, maybe grab them around the hip or grab them around the arm or whatever. You know, if some parent decided to like say, you know, one day I'm famous, oh, you know, nerd man like touched my kid. It's like you need context. You need to understand what was happening at the specific time. You need to understand why a parent would continue to allow their child to see a person when they think that they are so inappropriate. Why would they allow their child to continue seeing that person, to continue being involved with that person? So again, you know, context is absolutely everything with these two stories, and especially because he's been in the news recently, right? And when you're in the news, then that's when all of the people come out of the woodworks to sue, to get their hush money, because, you know, they know that, you know, famous people would rather their name dragged through a huge court case. They'd rather just like hush them up, like before they can do anything. So I can't see why anybody is taking headlines, sensationalist headlines, and you know, doing anything in which they're just presuming before any due process that that Ezra Miller is just guilty. You know, of one thing that's not even prosecutable, by the way. Do you know how many people, like, we live in a country where like firearms are just shown like to people all the time, right? They say that he showed a firearm while he was with this 12-year-old kid. Well,
That's
guess
just
what?
America.
I've seen 12-year-olds like with like submachine guns in their hand, like shooting with adults in videos, right? I've seen that. You know, so all right, let's put that aside. So now there's the business thing. Business wise, I think if Warner Brothers gets ahead of this, and if he does some kind of apology tour or like explains himself, then
I don't know
maybe
if an
there's
apology tour would solve this.
maybe there's something salvageable if he's having some kind of mental breakdown, or if whatever the hell's happening with him.
I think they've
You
announced
know,
that
it
like after
gets
the
kind of
Flash, you're not going to
explained.
work with him anymore.
Sure, sure. And then for me, it would be either like that kind of apology tour, or, you know, that kind of thing where Warner Brothers actually puts out a statement distancing themselves from him and making it clear that, you know, in the second movie he's going to be replaced.
I mean, they've already kind of done that.
And I think the movie could easily make a profit or break even. You know, as long as they go, look, there's nothing we can do about it, and now it's going to take too much to replace him.
I
He's
think
in
right
every
now
scene, blah 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 blah.
they're in damage control mode, so at best they'll just shove out the movie.
Saying nothing is not exactly helping right now.
No, saying nothing isn't helping. That's what
I mean, they've said they're not going to work with him anymore. That says a lot.
They didn't say that. That's not an
They didn't
official
say
statement.
that was a report from Deadline that says reportedly that's the plan.
Oh, well, it hasn't been officially announced. I don't know.
Warner themselves has to come out and say and just address the situation in some capacity.
I think probably they're trying to, like, they're hoping that it resolves peacefully. But once Ezra gets arrested, which he's going to get arrested, and they start charging him with like lots of child endangerment stuff, if they don't get rid of him, I'm going to be mad, because they got rid of Johnny Depp over allegations. And, like,
Yeah,
you
but
can
that
say like,
was
oh, it's
wrong.
because Johnny Depp's
But
hard work
wait,
on set.
Nick,
Okay.
that was wrong. They shouldn't have done that. So why
I'm
is
calling
it
out
to
the
make a
hypocrisy.
right?
I'm calling out the hypocrisy.
Sure, it's hypocrisy, but they should have never have done that.
I agree they shouldn't get rid of Johnny
Until
Depp.
somebody goes through a legal process in which they are convicted,
Yeah, I agree.
guilty.
Like, it was wrong when they did it to Johnny Depp, and they don't do it to Ezra Miller. I'm gonna be. I'm gonna be mad at the hypocrisy.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I wouldn't be mad at the hypocrisy. What they should do is apologize to Johnny Depp. That's what the right thing is.
Oh yeah, they definitely should do that.
It's not to treat others with the same kind of this is cancel culture. It's fine.
I'm not
You're
like I
canceling
think
a
you're kind of
person.
misinterpreting what I'm trying to say. Like, I'm not like.
No, I'm not.
I
I
agree
think
with
you're
you.
saying. Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like I agree with you. I feel like you made a good point that Ezra deserves the same due process that everyone else does. I agree with you on that. The thing
same
that I was
due
trying to say,
process that you would hope for. I would imagine
exactly
that you
yes.
are presumed innocent until proven guilty.
Yes, I agree with you on that. I'm just saying, if they don't do it, I'm going to be mad at the hypocrisy because, like, they got rid of Johnny Depp for something stupid, but they didn't do it for, it's a hypocrisy I'm mad at, not that they did or didn't do it.
Okay, but I mean, you can be mad at the hypocrisy while saying they should not do that because it's wrong. It's wrong when it happened to Johnny Depp, and it would be wrong if it happened to Ezra Miller.
I agree with you. Like, once Ezra, is convicted of whatever, convicted or not by jury or peers, that's when they can make the decision. Like, as much as I want to see, as much as I would like to see, like, it would be great to, like, oh, Ezra Miller got booted from the movie. Like, yeah, like that would make me feel good, but it isn't the right thing to do.
It's not the right thing to do. And thirdly, I was going to say, from a moral standpoint, I think Ezra has completely done this to himself, even if he is innocent of most of these charges or whatever. You can't have somebody who's just constantly involved in getting arrested and whatever, and acting a fool as he has been. Even when he was arrested, I saw the arrest tape and he was acting like an idiot. You're on the verge of making your career, of doing something that most people on the planet wish they can do, and you're being so irresponsible with it.
And you're
whatever happens
an example
to you,
for kids.
You don't even have to be an example for kids. Just don't get arrested. Don't get smashed and get arrested. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's like it's pretty fucking simple. So from here on in, even if, like, morally speaking, I just think, from my own personal morality, I just think, like, whatever happens to him, not that he deserves, because people were calling him the P word and blah 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 online and stuff like that. I'm not saying all of that stuff is deserved, but certainly if he loses this job or whatever happens to him regarding it, it's where there's smoke, there's fire, right?
Yeah.
Every time something has happened, he's been there, right? And seeing the way he was acting with the police, I can imagine of how he's kind of acting out with people.
Like, if you think he's bad, there's cameras on him. Imagine how bad he is in private.
Yeah. So unless he has some serious reason for behaving like this that comes out, I am done with Ezra Miller. That is fucking bullshit. I feel not humiliated, but angry that I, was defending his version of the Flash for so long against people. It's
honestly,
seriously disappointed
going off the Snyder Cut,
because he was fucking good in the Snyder Cut. I liked him a lot, and I defended all of the choices that they were making. I even defended his run, dude, like, because I thought you know what, this is challenging. I like, as I said, if you don't make anybody uncomfortable with your portrayal, then you're doing something wrong. The fact that he was doing something different, I liked, you know, and so it's really, really annoyed me, just this behavior. Uh, it's indefensible. Can't defend him anymore. Do you know what I mean? Even though I believe that in due process and all of those kind of things, the fact that he's been going out, like you get arrested and then you go out the next night
And do
and
it
get
again.
smashed again. Come on, bro. No, even if you didn't do anything, you would think I got arrested when I was like, whatever. Let me take a break from this, But he's going out and doing it again. So,
To me, it's
um,
like he feels
or,
like he's
or,
invincible.
or what happened recently? Like the police asked him to come in or something like that, and he just ignored it. Plus,
That's
he's
gonna make
still
you look good.
hanging. Plus, he's still hanging out with the girl that they said that he'd been grooming. If that was me, I'd get a million miles away from her
Yeah,
as
exactly.
soon as possible, and then go, hey
Yeah.
guys, like this is bullshit. She's just a friend of mine. I never did anything. I'll put out a statement through my publicist. That at least something, and then get away from her. Say, hey, go back to your family. This is too much heat for me. Go back to your family. So it's on him, is what I'm saying.
Exactly, it's definitely on him. So, on that note, I think we're gonna bring this live stream to a conclusion. We've been going on for about 90 minutes. Nerdman and Nick, it was a pleasure having you guys on.
Yep.
And I will see you
Thanks.
all
Well,
next
thank you for having
Saturday.
me on.
No problem. I will see
Appreciate
you
it.
all next Saturday, where we continue our discussion on why blank superheroes are the best. Stay heroic, everyone. Bye-bye.